We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast. This is Abe, your host. Just got off work. Just got home at 7:03 a.m. January 7th, the day after the siege. Woo! Yeah. No, it's January 9th now. Pardon me. Damn, has it already been 2 days? I guess so. I've been working, so it's hard to keep up. I'm 2 days off. Jesus. But yeah, last episode, I did touch on the siege. This is what the media is calling it, the siege. I mean, I don't know. It is a simpler word to say. It doesn't mean I'm subscribing to that mindset. But it is easier and quicker to say, you know. But I didn't even really plan on covering it. I just woke up to a shit show, so I'm like, oh, great, now I gotta cover this, you know. Sadly, we live in a world that's so crazy that you have to cover the negative stuff, and people are like, well, you don't have to, and it's like, dude, it's a conspiracy podcast, and there's already been conspiracies about this being I can't say the word F dot, kind of like handy sook, you know, and that doesn't mean it's a hoax, it just means it's a F dot, a bogus banner. How about we use that word if you all catch my drift? Now, there's a lot of weird stuff around the shooting of the girl. I've been digging around. I'm not going to say nothing didn't happen. I do know her name changed about 4 times, which is odd. So I'm going to kind of go down a little rabbit hole with that. Like, first, it was coming out, and I watched, like, as much as I could of the live footage. They kept jamming it. I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but let me know in the comments. I mean, they were trying. They kept jamming signals and shit. Sputnik went down for a little bit. But, yeah, it started out, her name was Roberta Paulson. And then somebody tied this rabbit hole together. Take it with a grain of salt. But Melania Trump had tweeted something she meant to, like, tag her father and tagged Meatloaf, which is funny because in Meatloaf, he played in Fight Club, where he played Robert Paulson, where he was shot in the neck. Now, a lot of people are saying that the media, they like to make fun of Trump. Oh, he can't even spell his tweets. Well, no, he misspells them for reasons. Or when he wants you to focus on something or, you know, decode something. Melania, that's his wife, Mr. Trump. You know, was she trying to say something? Maybe, because the first, like, everyone was saying, oh, her name was Roberta Paulson. What's her name? Her name was Roberta Paulson. What's her name? Kind of like Robert Paulson. His name was Robert Paulson. And then it changed like 3 or 4 times. Like, this isn't a mistake that I made. It was Abbott. Her last name was Abbott. You know, unless you want to say it's a Mandela effect or something, it went from Roberta Paulson to her last name being Abbott, and now it's Babbitt. And it's like, I don't know. So I left it. I put like a RIP, you know, with her name, Abbott, at the end of the last episode. And I'm not going to change it, not out of disrespect or anything, but just because it's like, dude, this shows you that some sketchiness is going on when the name changes 4 times. That, and there's a lot of people saying that she has been seen in other stuff as a crisis actor. I'm not, take it with a grain of salt, don't get crazy on me. If it was a real girl and she really died, then that sucks. But there's a lot of weird shit going on too, though. Like, there's this horned guy that was there, that the media and everyone's focusing on him. He's become almost like a meme. The Simpsons, I guess, predicted him, which, if you've been down the rabbit hole enough, you know Matt Groening's a Freemason. 33rd degree, I believe, too, and he's predicted, quote unquote, lots of things, and I don't think it's predictions. I think it's predictive programming, you know. I've spoke about that before. I think that people get intel on, hey, this is what's going to happen, you know. Let the people know, so that way we're karmically relieved. Yeah, so that, and the horn dude, he has been showing up to like BLM protest, and one of them was a fucking climate change protest. So like, I think he's just a paid protester. I've been listening to a lot of people who were there through other channels, like Rogueways had someone who was there, Monkey Works had someone on who was there, and there was some sketchiness, like Antifa had infiltrated, you know, dropping knives by people's feet and going, hey, you dropped that knife, and it's like, that's not my fucking knife. Like, nah, bro. Just real weird shit. And you can't find it on YouTube. So if you're listening on YouTube, I tell people, man, you're not going to be able to find shit on YouTube anymore as far as conspiracy theories. Like, this channel, my head's already in the guillotine. I'm just waiting for him to pull the lever. This channel will be gone by next year if Biden wins. Just a little heads up. So yeah, I will have to start a new channel. I'm not going to obviously say what the name of the new channel will be, but it will no longer, if you're on YouTube, it will no longer be Abe Williams. Just remember the name of the actual podcast you're listening to. Because I would like to, if this channel goes down, restart it under said name, you know. Yeah, I was watching BitChute, and there's footage on there in Washington, D.C., of literally 3 buses of Antifa getting escorted by the police, by the way, in D.C. Cell phone footage. You can find it. Go to BitChute. Y'all got to get off YouTube, man. YouTube is controlled. Sorry to... I mean, for some reason, like I keep shouting to the rooftops, y'all got to get off YouTube and switch over to something. BitChute, I've been using BitChute. There's a bunch of different ones, you know, different sites you can use to get the actual information. They're hiding it all, dude. Twitter hid Trump's post about, and I watched it. He literally was just like, hey, let's all be peaceful, go home. And mainstream media is like, oh, it was violent. So they banned him from Twitter, and it's like, I watched it. It was not violent. Luckily, people have actually, you know, recorded it and put it back out there so people could actually know the real truth. But there's so many sheeple out there who just watch the mainstream news that they're like, oh, he was inciting violence. You got Nancy Pelosi wanting nuclear codes, saying that our president's crazy, that he needs to be impeached. Now, why do they want him out so bad? Today's the 9th. He's got, 11 days till he's out? And you need him impeached within 11 days? What are you guys so terrified about that he's going to do in 11 days? I mean, think about it, people, with a rational mind. If someone I don't like is getting fired from the job and I'm just a coworker, let's put it in that mindset. If I'm a coworker and I don't like this coworker and they're getting fired in 11 days, why would I want them out so fucking bad before 11 days? I can wait. Just have patience. Unless I know that they got some dirt on me, that they could get me fired, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you so afraid? And we all know why they're so afraid. We're not stupid. We're not stupid people. And I know you guys aren't stupid because you guys are listening to this. You know, I would like to think that I'm putting out good content that makes people question, and that's why, honestly, we've been shadow banned and striked. I mean, I only got like 180 something subs, and I'm already looking to get a second strike soon. I'm not surprised. Will it happen? I don't know. We'll see. After the 20th, a lot of stuff's gonna happen. A lot of stuff's gonna happen before the 20th. But let's see. As far as updates on the siege, we talked about Bullman. We talked about the Antifa buses coming in. Oh, footage of cops moving the barriers to allow the quote-unquote siege. Once again, you'll have to go to alternative sites to find this. Let's see. Oh, the security guard with his baton on the floor, picking it up and then basically leading them up the stairs to the second floor. You'll never hear it on mainstream. I've seen it. I watched it live when actually they were smashing in windows. Everybody in the crowd kept telling them to stop because it was Antifa smashing windows. I think that's about it. I think I've covered all that I've seen. Some wildness. That's about it as far as the siege, man. You all got to dig deeper. And I'm not saying you all specifically. I'm not saying you, because you probably have dug and you probably know more than me. I get people that comment to me, man, you got to dig more. Dude, I work like 50-something hours a week. I work 6 days a week, 50-something hours a week. I can only dig so much. And most of my digging is podcast. I listen to Wano Savin, Sean Atwood. Oh, by the way, someone who suggested Dark Journalist, I did check them out tonight, and he's on fire, dude. I like that. That's pretty cool. That's good shit. Rogue Ways. And sadly, most of the people I was listening to are gone. They're off, you know. But yeah, so I get people that are like, man, you gotta dig. And it's like, I don't know if you've checked out my channel, but I've been on here for 3 years. I've went down every rabbit hole there is, man. Like, and by the way, I've been awake for, I would say, about 10 years now. I've been awake. I've been red-pilled, like we used to say back in the day. But yeah, so I've been digging, and I try not to brag, but my entire upstairs is a library of digging. I know people don't use books anymore, but this is a game that they've been playing for thousands of years. you know. But we shall get on with the show. I just wanted to do a little update on the quote unquote siege of what I've learned within the past couple days. And today we are covering Native American creation myths. Now I know you're going to be like, oh, we covered that already. No, I covered Native American creation myths as far as like their Adam and Eve. This is actual world creation myths of the creation of the globe or flat plane. So we're going to hear the Native American side of the story of how the world was created. So here we'll start with a little intro. The world did not always exist as we know it today, and the myths which described its creation are associated with, and as varied as, those about the rise of culture. The primordial environment is for almost all tribes a watery one, from which different beings bring up mud to make the earth. So kind of like going along with Genesis, basically. We started out as a water plane or globe, whichever you prefer. In southwestern tales, 4 or 5 worlds of different colors or elements are stacked one on top of the other, and people climb up the reed or stalk through a hole in the ceiling of one dying world into the next newborn one. People in the northwest tell of descending through a hole in the sky, associated with the smoke hole of a teepee, to emerge into the present world. Countless characters enter into the action, true gods and spirits, monsters and dragons, elks, bears, eagles, and other birds. Even the trickster coyote tries his hand at creation, which we did an episode on coyote. I'll leave a card at the end of the video so you can check it out. The creation myth of the Iroquois, reflected in those of many cultures, combines several of these elements. The daughter of the sky chief is pushed down through a hole in the sky into a world that is covered with water, but she is saved from drowning by waterfowls, who convince the great turtle below to harbor her. Toad dives for mud and makes the earth on the back of the great turtle. It is the daughter who, impregnated by the west wind, gives birth to the gentle, creative Tsinta and his cruel brother, Tawaskari, which is probably how it's pronounced, who kills his mother in childbirth as he kicks his way through her side. That almost sounds like, what was it, Jacob and Esau, almost, like dueling brothers, or Cain and Abel, Romulus and Remus, Enki and Enlil. We see these dueling brothers throughout all myths all over the world. I think if most people wrap their head around that we're all hearing the same stories from everyone, not one true side is right, and not all of them wrong, you know? I don't know, that's just my mind. The twins who combine both good and evil recur across the continent. Among the Yuma, it is Kokomot, the All-Father, who is good, while his blind brother, the subterranean Bakothal, personifies evil, so the devil. The twins can also be 2 girls, kind of like Gemini, or brother and sister. Monbozo, White Rabbit, is the creation hero of the Great Lakes region. He is also one of a set of twins who are both animal and human, his brother being Wolf. In the California region, the culture hero may find himself floating in a boat in the chaos of primeval water. He sends animals to dive down to the bottom for a dab of mud and creates the present world from that. He also creates another character, frequently Coyote, who in turn makes man from wood or clay and gives them life, kind of like the ancient Egyptian mythology of Khnum, who was the potter. I believe like a ram-headed god, maybe goat perhaps, or honestly the Judeo-Christian Jehovah, making man from mud, breathing life into it. Animals are created next, and the world is ordered. The theft of light, of fire, is a prominent theme, kind of like Prometheus, which we've covered that. I'll leave a card at the end for that too if you want. As in the establishment of the Earth's topography. In the North Pacific and plateau east of the Rockies to the Cascades, various heroes act through a similar circle of events. From southern Vancouver Island north, Raven is the hero. In the Gulf of Georgia area, it is mink. And in Washington and Oregon, it is blue jay. The cycle opens with the birth of a child after a spiritual conception. He is then adopted by a chief. The myths follow his adventures as he steals fire, light, water, and animals for his people, and gives animals and objects the forms they have today. In the Southwest, creation myths are closely related to a complex ceremonialism which distinguishes the tribes from those of the rest of North America. We have already seen tales that describe the origin of ceremonies such as the corn dance. In creation stories of the Southwest, life emerges from lower worlds, with people fashioned from the Creator's skin. There are twin heroes here as well, and struggles with primeval monsters. Common themes and images of creation are widespread across North America, for myths migrate as freely as people. The theme of primeval water covering a not yet created earth is perhaps the most prevalent, found in every area except that of the Eskimo. While only the Southwest lacks the episode of a diving creature fashioned the earth from mud, the California regions and the Southwest share tales of the original world parents, earth and sky, and the creation of men from rubbings of skins. Among tribes of the trans-Mississippi West, the determination of the seasons is a prominent theme, and there are many stories across the continent which describe how the four winds came to be, while stories of a creator and of the formation of the universe, which follow, tend to be fragmentary. There is clear in the universal concern for the beginning of mankind and the foundation of the world in which humans live. So now we'll get on with some of the tales. The Jicarilla Apache. The Jicarilla Genesis. In the beginning the earth was covered with water, and all living things were below in the underworld. Then people could talk. The animals could talk. The trees could talk. And the rocks could talk. It was dark in the underworld, and eagle plumes were used for torches. The people and the animals that go about by day wanted more light, but the night animals, the bear, the panther, and the owl, wanted darkness. After a long argument, they agreed to play the thimble and button game, and if the day animals won, there would be light, but if the night animals won, it would always be dark. The game began. The magpie and the quail, who love the light and have sharp eyes, watched until they could see the button through the thin wood of the hollow stick that served as a thimble. This told the people where the button was, and in the first round, the people won. The morning star came out, and the black bear ran and hid in the darkness. They played again, and the people won. It grew bright in the east, and the brown bear ran and hid in a dark place. They played a third time, and the people won. It grew brighter in the east, and the mountain lion slunk away into the darkness. They played a fourth time, and again the people won. The sun came up in the east, and it was day, and the owl flew away and hid. Even though it was light now, the people still didn't see much because they were underground. But the sun was high enough to look through a hole and discover that there was another world, this earth. He told the people, and they all wanted to go up there. They built 4 mounds to help them reach the upper world. In the east, they mounded the soil and planted it with all kinds of fruits and berries that were colored black. In the south, they heaped up another mound and planted all kinds of fruit that were blue. In the west, they built a mound that they planted with yellow fruits. In the north, they planted the mound with fruits in variegated colors. The mounds grew into mountains, and the bushes blossomed, fruited, and produced ripened berries. One day 2 girls climbed up to pick berries and gather flowers to tie in their hair. Suddenly the mountains stopped growing. The people wondered, and they sent Tornado to learn the cause. Tornado went everywhere and searched into every corner, and at last he found the 2 girls and brought them back to their people. But the mountains did not grow anymore, and this is why a boy stops growing when he goes with a woman for the first time. If he never did, he would continue to grow taller. The mountains had stopped growing while their tops were still a long way from the upper world. So the people tried laying feathers crosswise to make a ladder, but the feathers broke under the weight. People made a second ladder of large feathers, but again they were too weak. They made a third ladder of eagle feathers, but even these would not bear much weight. Then a buffalo came and offered his right horn, and 3 others also contributed their right horns. The horns were strong and straight, and with them the people were able to climb up through the hole to the surface of the earth. But the weight of all those humans bent the buffalo horns, which have been curved ever since. Now the people fastened the sun and moon with spider threads so that they could not get away, and sent them up into the sky to give light. And since water covered the earth, 4 storms went to roll the waters away. The black storm blew to the east and rolled up the waters into the eastern ocean. The blue storm blew to the south and rolled up the waters in that direction. The yellow storm rolled up the waters in the west. And the vari-colored storm went to the north and rolled up the waters there. So the tempest formed the 4 oceans in the east, the south, the west, and the north. Having rolled up the waters, the storms returned to where the people were waiting, grouped around the mound of the hole. The polecat first went out, when the ground was still soft, and his legs sank into the black mud and have been black ever since. They sent the tornado to bring him back because it wasn't time. The badger went out, but he too sank in the mud and got black legs, and Tornado called him back. Then the beaver went out, walking through the mud and swimming through the water, and at once began to build a dam to save the water still remaining in pools. When he did not return, Tornado found and asked why he had not come back. "Because I wanted to save the water for the people to drink," said the beaver. "Good," said Tornado, and they went back together. Again the people waited, until at last they sent out the gray cow to see if the time had been come. The crow found the earth dry. Gray crow. Wait, this actually is kind of important because it sounds like Noah's Ark, if I could compare it to something. Again the people waited until they sent out the gray crow to see if the time had come. The crow found the earth dry, and many dead frogs, fish, and reptiles lying on the ground. He began picking out their eyes and did not return until Tornado was sent after him. The people were angry when they found he had been eating carrion, and they changed his color to black. So he originally was gray. But now the earth was all dry, except for the 4 oceans and the lake in the center, where the beaver had dammed up the waters. All the people came up. They traveled east until they arrived at the ocean, and they turned south until they came again to the ocean. When they went west to the ocean, and then they turned north, and as they went, each tribe stopped where it wanted to. But the Jicarillas continued to circle around the hole where they had come up from the underworld. 3 times they went around. When the ruler became displeased and asked them where they wished to stop, they asked, "In the middle of the earth." So he led them to a place near Taos and left them. And there near the Taos Indians, the Jicarillas, made their home. Now this is based on a tale by James Mooney in the 1890s. Now here's a tale from the Modoc. When grizzlies walked upright. Before there were people on earth, the chief of the sky spirits grew tired of his home in the above world, when the air was always brittle and icy cold. So he carved a hole in the sky with a stone, and pushed all the snow and ice down below until he made a great mound that reached from earth almost to the sky. Today it is known as Mount Shasta. By the way, do you notice this definitely coincides with Genesis? Like the whole there's waters above, waters below, and there's great windows, kind of like the hole in the sky is the window. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe. Flat earthers? Let me know. Then the sky spirit took his walking stick, stopped from a cloud to the peak, and walked down to the mountain. When he was about halfway to the valley below, he began to put his finger to the ground here and there, here and there. Wherever his finger touched, a tree grew. The snow melted in his footsteps, and water ran down in rivers. See, I don't know, man. It reminds me, I've told this story before, that my mom gave me a Greek mythology book, and I don't know, that was kind of when I almost was like first red pilled. I was reading it, and it was like all the exact same stories that are in the Bible, and then I studied Celtic mythology because I'm Irish. Whenever I turned 18, I got a Celtic mythology book and started reading it, and I'm like, this is all the same shit as the Bible. I got a Native American book and started reading their myths, and they're telling the same stories everywhere, and everyone's like, oh, they're just copying my religion, it's fake, it's evil, and it's like, no, I think they kind of complement each other. Let's look at it more as complimenting rather than deceiving, and some big red devil's gonna get you if you read it and fall for it, Look at it as complementary. The sky spirit broke off the small end of the giant stick and threw the pieces into the rivers. The longer pieces turned into beaver and otter. The smaller pieces became fish. When the leaves dropped from the trees, he picked them up, blew upon them, and so made the birds, that he took the big end of his giant stick and made all the animals that walked on the earth, the biggest of which were the grizzly bears. Now when they were first made, the bears were covered with hair and had sharp claws, just as they do today. They walked on 2 feet and could talk like people. They looked so fierce that the sky spirit sent them away from him to live in the forest and at the base of the mountain. I swear I can read you all. Pleased with what he had done, the chief of the sky spirits decided to bring his family down and live on the earth himself. The mountains of snow and ice became their lodge. He made a big fire in the center of the mountain with a hole on the top so that the smoke and sparks could fly out. So basically, he created a volcano. When he put a log on the fire, sparks would fly up and the earth would tremble. Late one spring, while the Sky Spirit and his family were sitting round the fire, the Wind Spirit sent a great storm that shook the top of the mountain. It blew and blew, roared and roared. Smoke blown back into the lodge hurt their eyes, and finally the Sky Spirit said to his youngest daughter, "Climb up to the smoke hole and ask the Wind Spirit to blow more gently. Tell him I'm afraid he will blow the mountain over." As his daughter started up, her father said, "But be careful not to stick your head out the top. If you do, the wind may catch you by the hair and blow you away." The girl hurried to the top of the mountain and stayed well inside the smoke hole as she spoke to the Wind Spirit. And she was about to climb back down. She remembered that her father had once said, "You can see the ocean from the top of the lodge." His daughter wondered what the ocean looked like, and her curiosity got the better of her. She poked out her head and turned toward the west, but before she could see anything, the Wind Spirit caught her long hair, pulled her out of the mountain, and blew her down over the snow and ice. She landed among the scrubby fir trees at the edge of the timber and snow line, her long red hair trailing over the snow. There a grizzly bear found the little girl when he was out hunting for food for his family. He carried her home with him, and his wife brought her up with their family of cubs. The little red-haired girl and the cubs ate together, played together, and grew up together. It's kind of funny. That almost reminds me of like, what was it, Goldilocks? But this one is focusing on the red hair, and honestly, if you get into like Atlantean theory, or even honestly the origins of because the Scots and the Irish, I know I'm gonna piss a bunch of people off, but they come from the same people. And it reminds me of Princess Scotia, who was an Egyptian princess and was over here. And the Atlantis theory is that people all over the world were going all over the place. More people were seafarers than like mainstream history books would like you to believe. I mean, that's a whole deep rabbit hole in itself of like Egyptian stuff in Grand Canyon that got covered up by the Smithsonian. I went to Red Birdstone earlier this year. I can leave a card if YouTube allows me to leave multiples at the end of the video and show you that there's Hebrew writing, Egyptian writing and stuff on a stone in Kentucky, an hour away from where I live. Pre-Columbus, there's rune stones all over the country, which meant they kind of went down a rabbit hole themselves in studying it and found out the Templars were here. You know, like it's crazy. Let's see. Yeah. When she became a young woman, she and the eldest son of the grizzly bears were married. In the years that followed, they had many children who were not as hairy as the grizzlies, yet did not look exactly like their spirit mother either. All the grizzly bears throughout the forest were so proud of these new creatures that they had made a lodge for the red-haired mother and her children. They placed a lodge near Mount Shasta. It is called Little Mount Shasta today. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I've never been or heard of Mount Shasta. I just know about the Shasta soda. If you have been there or you live around there, like, let me know in the comments. Like, I don't know. It sounds like me and Sammy do a lot of hiking and stuff. Sounds like it'd be pretty cool to go to. I didn't realize there was a myth behind it, which is cool. Yeah, just let me know. Let me know what you know about it, or if you've ever been there. After many years had passed, the mother grizzly bear knew that she would die soon. Fearing that she should ask the chief of the sky spirits to forgive her for keeping his daughter, she gathered all the grizzlies at the lodge they had built. Then they sent her oldest grandson in a cloud to the top of Mount Shasta. Haha, he's like flying up there like Goku on Nimbus. To tell the spirit chief where he could find his long-lost daughter. When the father got the news, he was so glad that he came down the mountainside in giant strides, melting the snow and tearing up the land under his feet. Even today, his tracks can be seen in the rocky path on the side of Mount Shasta. Okay, so if you guys have, anyone has ever hiked it, let me know if you could see, where they say, that he walked through. That would be kind of cool. And we have an email. I can't, it's on a paper somewhere. My wife, I wish that she would podcast with me more so she can fill in, but we work different shifts, and it's on older videos. We've promoted our email before, so send us pictures if you want, because I'd like to see it. As he neared the lodge, he called out, "Is this where my little daughter lives?" He expected his child to look exactly as she had when he saw her last, when he found a grown woman instead, and learned that the strange creatures she was taking care of were his grandchildren. He became very angry. A new race has been created that was not of his making. He frowned on the old grandmother so sternly that she promptly fell dead. Then he cursed all the grizzlies. "Get down on your hands and knees. You have wronged me, and from this moment all of you will walk on 4 feet and never talk again." Very similar to the angry God of the Bible who cursed the snake. Get down on your belly and you'll never be able to speak again. Same concept, same story. The Bible was written in the Middle East. Native Americans were telling this story in America. How did it get here if Atlantis is not real? Like that, or is this collective consciousness, perhaps? I don't know. You let me know. That's just, I would like to take note of things that I find odd. Let's see. He drove his grandchildren out of the lodge, put his daughter over his shoulder, and climbed back up the mountain. The man of the mountain. We spoke about him before in the Assassins episode. Never again did he come to the forest. Some say he put out the fire in the center of his lodge and took his daughter back up to live in the sky. Those strange creatures, his grandchildren, scattered and wandered over the earth. They were the first Indians, the ancestors of all the Indian tribes. That's why the Indians living around Mount Shasta will never kill a grizzly bear. Whenever a grizzly killed an Indian, his body was burned on the spot. And for many years, all who passed that way cast a stone there until a great pile of stones marked the place of his death. That's wild. That's wild. The way they were describing, too, just because this is Conspiracy Corner Podcast, so they could stand upright and talk, it makes me almost, in a way, and I could be stretching, but it makes me almost think of, like, Sasquatch, that maybe they were talking about, like, this scientifically proven ancient race of Gigantopithecus. Maybe they could talk, and I don't know, that's where, I don't know, and then they got cursed to become bears, and Gigantopithecus disappeared. I don't know. It's just a theory. It's out there. Put on your tinfoil hat, But yeah, it wasn't really a request to go back into the Native American episodes, but someone did say, hey, they enjoyed that I cover all sorts of topics, and Sorry about the update that it was so long at the beginning of the podcast. I've been looking at the statistics and stuff because you can check out how long people's attention spans are and stuff. This is a longer episode, but I couldn't not cover it. I mean, this is going on right now, you know. And it is conspiracy related, so it'd be kind of ridiculous for me not to cover a bogus banner and let you all know. But I do like to have a main subject for the episode, so let me know if you guys want a part 2 of Native American creation myths. I guess this would kind of be a part 2 of it. Let me know. You all have a good day, and I'll catch you all later.
We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.